What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here with another episode of Out of My Element, where you guys get to pick the album that I review. And the winner of the poll for this video is Ecco2k's E. But before we get into it, I want to let you guys know that this video is being sponsored by The Coldest Water. They're a company that creates these great water bottles that keep your water cold for up to 36 hours. The bottles feature no sweat technology and they're odor proof. So if you want to enter a giveaway to win one of your own, the link is down there in the description section. Or if you want to buy one straight out, you can use my promo code and get 10% off your entire order. That link is also down there in the description section, so check it out. So let's get into it. Because there seems to be a little bit of confusion about how this series goes, how it works is if you're a Patreon supporter of mine, you suggest the albums, I take those albums, I put them on a poll, everyone votes on the albums on the poll, and the winner gets reviewed in the video. And that's really it. So with Ecco2k, I've never actually heard of this person before, and it kind of worried me when I pulled it up because, you know, I can never know what you guys are going to throw at me, which is kind of part of the fun of this whole series, because it's kind of cool sometimes to just walk into something completely blind. I had no idea what type of album this was. I didn't know if it was a rock album, a hip-hop album, a country album. I had absolutely no clue. Still don't. With AAA Powerline, it had a nice instrumental. Nothing too special here, very airy and atmospheric. His vocals are blended in with the instrumental quite nicely, meaning he sounds really good over this particular backdrop. But the song itself, it really didn't do anything for me. It's not bad, but the production was a bit dry, and the repeated lines got old fairly quickly for me. I get that, you know, it's about drugs, so I'd imagine the repetitive lines are intentional as a way of kind of illustrating the idea of being stuck in a loop, which is the way people do describe being high on ketamine. Second song, Peroxide, didn't do anything for me either. It's another okay beat, airy and atmospheric, but he's not doing anything different here than he was doing on the first song, so this took me nowhere. I felt the same about Fragile, and I felt the same about Fruit Bleed Juice. The songs just started blending together, and I don't even feel like I was getting some exceptionally interesting lyrics to make this interesting. Like on Fruit Bleed Juice, after he says sweet like juice a bunch of times, he says, I want the sweetest juice, you are the darkest fruit, I drink from you. Or on CC, he says, droplets meet the surface, turn to circles, into circles, energy is eternal. The lyrics just come off as a bit trite. The thing with this kind of music for me is, if it's gonna be super airy, then I need to be sucked in by the instrumentals or the vocal performances. And with this album, I'm just plain not. The music is fine, but as I said, it's a bit samey, and after a while, it starts to get a bit boring. The vocals don't do much to help that. The high-pitched thing could work, but it gets boring after a while too, especially with the repetitive lines throughout this album. I might get sucked in if the lyrics were at least interesting, but I didn't find them to be. They're not bad, but they come across as very young. Not a lot of depth or meat to pull me in and keep me interested. The only songs that I feel like had some kind of life to them were Time and Blue Eyes. The last two songs on the album. And I didn't really like them either, but at least they sounded different from the others. The beat for Time was a bit more interesting, and his vocal approach was this sort of rapping thing that was a bit more intriguing, but as a whole, the song still missed the mark for me. Blue Eyes kind of gives you the impression that it's gonna get wild with that fuzzed out, dirty bass at the beginning and the way he comes in, but it just ends up being a bit half-assed. Because it never actually takes you all the way there, in my opinion. Maybe if it was a bit more than a minute and a half long, it could have more room to be fleshed out. But as it stands, it was just, yeah, it didn't work. This album feels mostly one-dimensional, and I feel like it lacks a lot of personality, you know? The production doesn't interest me, the vocals don't interest me, the sad boy drug user themes don't interest me. This album just, it doesn't interest me. It's like someone from Cash Cash was trying to manifest what it would sound like if Kid Cudi covered a Coil album. Listening to this was a very perplexing and daunting task, and it made me really curious as to why you guys voted for this. I'm not gonna make any kind of judgment calls on that. I'm just curious as to your reasoning, that's all. But I will say this, hearing albums like this do make me appreciate where music is right now. The fact that there are music scenes happening completely unbeknownst to me, I think is really cool. You know, and the fact that I can hear an album like this, and given all of the different styles of music that I listen to, I can still say that I don't get the appeal. I think that that's actually cool as well, you know? It takes me back to a time when I brought home stuff like Fishbone and NoFX and Operation Ivy, and my mom was like, I don't get the appeal. So, for some weird reason, I find the fact that I'm feeling that way about this music kind of a positive thing. So keep jamming to this if you like it, but for me, this is a big fat no. I cannot get jiggy with this shit, but I'm happy for you if you can. So yeah, that's really all I have to say for this video. You will notice there's no poll down there in the description section. That's because my patrons get their private poll where they get to vote on the albums as well. So that video will be up probably in a couple days, so keep an eye out for that, because the new poll will be in that video for you guys to vote on. And yeah, as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. And I'll see you guys next time. Please be safe, stay your ass at home, wear a mask. I don't give a fuck if you think it's fake. Shut the fuck up. Peace out, boy. Yahoo!